Welcome back to another Chromebook unboxing. Today we're taking a look at the new Dell Chromebook 11. This one has 8 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, and an Intel N150 processor. Let's open it up. We're gonna make it look like I know what I'm doing opening this box though, right? All right. We have a 65-watt USB-C adapter. Looks like we have plenty of length on this with a separate power cable. All right. First impressions before I even opening it up is it's pretty sleek. There's the same texture across the back cover here. It's very fine texture. Makes it a little bit grippy, but not so much texture that this is gonna collect any grime or dirt. I see they stuck with the rubberized edging on the bottom, but no rubberized edging around the top cover. But the top cover on this device doesn't protrude as far as the bottom half of this device. So you're going to be less likely to damage the top cover in any kind of drop. Very solid hinges. Look at that. There's almost no bounce at all. When I let go, that's where it stays. Very quiet shut. No magnetic snap at the bottom there. That's all right. All right, we have our glossy touch screen here. Removable keyboard, I can tell. I like the keyboard bezel here. Very sleek, indented, so that it's flush with the Palmrest here. That just is a nice look and a nice feel. There's no sharp edges. And same with the touchpad. Around the touchpad, they've beveled the edges all the way around. You can see that. So there's really no sharp edges here. What do we have for ports? So headphone jack on this side. We have a locking port here. And then all of the USB ports are on the other side. So we have one USB-A here, and then 2 USB-C ports. All right, let's plug it in and boot it up. All right, what a beautifully long cable. That is a snug USB-C port. Wow. And I assume I can charge in either one of these USB-C ports, yeah? Yes. Yep, we're charging on both. Wow. That booted up basically instantly. All right, get started. Let's try the keys. Oh, wow. Those are really nice. There's no tinniness or anything. I can barely hear the brackets on these keys. This is really nice. This might be the smoothest Chromebook keyboard that I've typed on. that's enjoyable. I like that a lot. Touch screen is perfectly responsive. That's good. Cool. The touchpad is very smooth. I really like the beveled edge to this touchpad. All right, let's open it up and take a look inside. We have 9 screws holding the bottom cover on here. And I think these screws might be captive, so you don't have to worry about losing these screws. Wow, easy. Comes right off. No scary snapping. Well, the first thing I see here is some nice heavy-duty brackets over the USB-C ports. Oh, I also see a very sturdy bracket over this USB-A port. And I see it's a different bracket than what's over these USB-C ports. So I don't know, they determined this must have needed more reinforcing than the USB-C ports. I also noticed the LCD cable has a bracket over it that looks pretty hefty. So you're not gonna have to worry about accidentally snagging that LCD cable clip. I'm a little bit surprised that the hinges don't extend very far into the Palmrest assembly here. There are 3 screws attaching it to the Palmrest. Actually, there's a 4th when the bottom cover is on. So maybe that is plenty without having it extend so far in. These screws are captive to the battery. So you don't have to worry about losing the battery screws either. I don't think I've seen that. This battery cable is kind of weird. It actually travels all the way under the battery and connects to the bottom half. I'm not sure why they chose to do that, but just be aware if you have to do a battery replacement. Sometimes these cables do not come with the battery. You need to buy those separately. A lot of mounting hardware around this touchpad. Not terrible for repairability and great for durability, but everything really easy to get to, pretty simple, straightforward. Let's open up the top half and take a look at the LCD. So we have covers over the 4 screws on the bezel here. Probably should use a razor blade for this, but in the interest of getting through the video without cutting myself, we're just going to use this screwdriver here. Wow, that's in there. All right, this is a touch screen, so there's probably some adhesive around the LCD. Bezel's snapping off easy. Really stuck on the bottom here. But we are using a guitar pick, so. All right. This LCD looks pretty basic for a touchscreen LCD. I think this is going to be an easy LCD to come by if this gets cracked or needs to be replaced. That's Dell's new Chromebook 11. Things I liked, there's quite a few. Just to name a couple, all of the rounding and the beveling of sharp edges and corners. This thing will be really easy to clean. I don't see a lot of debris getting in under the keyboard. I just really think it's a clean looking device. The keyboard feels great. It felt responsive and speedy. I love it. Repairability, I'm gonna have to give this device a 5. This is gonna be a really easy device to repair. I opened up this touchscreen with a guitar pick, no problem. Overall, given that this is going to be in the hands of students, I would also give this device a 5. I don't know that I would really change anything. Great job reinforcing the ports. I do wish that there was, just for functionality, a port, a USB-C port on the other side of the device. Although I'm torn on it, it does create another point of failure great hinges. I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about this device. I think this Chromebook, this is the best Chromebook I've ever seen from Dell. It's fantastic. That's it for this one, guys. We'll see you next time.